Right. So you kick things off with season 4, The Boys, right?
Yeah.
Couple days ago, we got the first 3 episodes of season 4. And all right, so well, Ricardo, if you don't mind, I want you to do the synopsis first, right? So
Sure.
I'm assuming that because I saw a couple of YouTube critics that I follow actually covering the whole season. Now I don't know if of course I'm not gonna watch it
Yeah.
until it wraps up, right? But I'm
Yeah.
assuming that they saw all 8 episodes, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really don't know what to expect. Sorry, I don't know what the outcome of this season will be. But from what I'm hearing, just a little, article that I glanced online, right, on social media, basically. The showrunner, Eric Kripke, right? People kind of have an issue with the show and thinking, like, why the show all so political and all in my face with the politics, blah 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 blah, and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's no coincidence that this season dropped about 4 or 5 months before the American elections, right? So yeah, all this is perfectly timed and all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, people talk about it's so political, man, and all that kind of stuff now. And well, Kripke is like, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, and him kind of,
Sure.
well,
Yeah.
let's wrap it up. I just kind of him just saying, yeah, that's his show, take it or leave it. And then he
Yeah.
dropped the announcement at the same time that season 5 will be the final season. So
Right.
yeah, the question is, how is this one going to how this one is going to play out, right?
Right.
Especially with the political climate going on, right? And I'll close this, right? Even if we as non-Americans, right, viewers, not thinking about that, we can't help but see it, like it's we are aware of the climate of what's going on right now, right? So yeah, it's kind of difficult not to watch the events of these first 3 episodes play out and not think about Biden and Trump, right? Or
Right.
stuff along that line, right? So I'll stop there. But anyway,
Yeah.
before I jump into season 4, yeah, any thoughts on this whole political angle with this
Yeah.
show here?
The original comic was very blatant, like conceit of the Bush administration's politics, especially eventually it's the role of evangelical Christianity and kind of that, for lack of a better term, hero worship, and the superhero genre has always been criticized as somewhat ingratiating towards fascism. I think the filmmaker Iniratu himself, he like blatantly said that he was like one of the most direct and loudest criticism. But like it did not it going on a long time now, right? It is always this it's conceits and it's catering to power, it's catering to authority, it's appeal to the strongest or the mightiest is the one who have to consolidate the narrative and so on and so forth, right? There's a lot of literature about this. And I know the boys just does it in a very direct and blatant way in its commentary. With that, both Invincible and the boys does I think a decent enough job with that. For the most part, like and well, this show had to kind of update its politics. With that, so it's okay instead of the Bush administration, or it's kind of the Trump administration, the post-Trump administration, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, it kind of blatant in its social commentary. It's like saying getting mad at the boys is like getting mad at Grand Theft Auto. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of it's a bunch of obvious like conceits towards modern society and whatever. So that's why I don't really like. Why is that an argument or anything interesting about it? Anybody who like this take this at face value? I don't know anyone does it. I mean, it's very soapboxes. I mean, it is about as didactic as I said. Either Grand Theft Auto or even something like Star Trek. Very very blatant in its conceit. So
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who like surprised at this or whatever. Like, yeah, you want anything more nuanced? It's right there. It's in the material. Whatever.
That's
Moving on.
true, yeah.
Yeah. So this season, yeah. Right. So basically, they pick back up from events of 3, where Homelander is charged with murdering this dude who I forget he threw like a copper
No,
something
he threw a plastic bottle.
a plastic bottle. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right at Ryan, and yeah, Homelander reacted and immediately murdered the dude. Homelander, right, is now on trial for this, and now this kind of split up the country with mostly people being represented by, well, the former Annie January, formerly Starlight, taking one side, and then, well, Homelander on the other side. So you have, I forget what they call them, the Starlighters versus Home Teamers.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just these blatant conceits towards like MAGA and whatever it is, right? And then Homelander now goes and looks for someone because what happens is he kind of effectively he full of himself, but he's smart enough to realize that he kind of too surrounded by yes men, and this is a problem. He deliberately sorts out someone who's effectively the smartest person on the planet. A woman by the name of Sage, or AKA Sister Sage. And yeah, this is probably my new favorite character.
I had a mind too. Like the
Yeah,
moment the moment her character is established, like I
yeah,
know Ricardo go real like that character. You
yeah.
know.
I love this character.
I should look up who the actress is. She looks
Yeah,
familiar, Jared, but I'll
yeah.
look it up.
She's such a menace. Like, she's just such a fucking menace. Anyway, yeah. So basically, Homelander asks her for help, and well, she says yes, and she basically is advising Homelander how to make moves. Because what happens at Homelander kind of stuck in a kind of existential bent, right? There's a problem with power if it doesn't think itself out too far ahead, right? That it doesn't matter how powerful you are, how strong or whatever it is. If what you gotta ask yourself why it is you're doing what you're doing, right? Homelander can't just go ape shit and nuke everything or whatever it is. Like you gotta operate with the situation, especially in the context of his son. And what they do there is really clever. So what Sister Sledge asks him to do effectively, or tells him to do, given how the situation works out, is to engender a certain amount of chaos for the system to more or less implode, and then you be the actual hero of the situation, probably the nightmare that you create or instrumentalize going forward. And yeah, so said, so done. The first episode sets up a conceit where a bunch of the dudes got murdered by Starlighters, but like it's a fake thing set up by the boys themselves. Sorry, set up by the seven. Three other members of the seven, who we call them A Train, the Deep, and the new. Here's a big spoiler. I think I know where they're going. The new oh gosh, the ninja fella now. What's his name?
Noir,
Um,
Noir. Well,
Noir, Black Noir.
the joke I'll make is that he's neo Noir, right? Ha ha ha.
Right,
Get it? Yeah.
right. Black Noir, yeah. We call him Thing Brother now, Stan Edgar brother, right? So, we don't know who the person is. We keep talking all the time, and we don't know and I think I know where they're going with this, right? But they playing with this is a really funny bit, where he keeps talking all the time, and he's keep like, he don't really play his role particularly well. And then they do a bunch of like side stories now with this, where now Homelander start making moves. Not so much Homelander, but Sister Sage start making moves to look for other members of to deal with Starlight. She looks for Firecracker and gets with her. And Firecracker has a personal relationship with Starlight. That is a whole thing. Huey's dad has a stroke. And I was wondering if, we don't know yet, but by the end of the episode, by the end of the season, they might reveal this, but I don't know for sure. But this another person who's playing her situation quite well is Newman, right? Newman, and then Huey's dad has a stroke. Newman is possibly part of that, but Newman has her own moves because Huey has evidence about her, very incriminating evidence that she's trying to deal with. Billy, still struggling with the situation with Ryan and Homelander. And then Frenchie has a whole side story with himself dealing with that. And then Mother's Milk is now in charge of the boys. And they do something real cool with him. I like, where you ever notice all his t-shirts? That's great.
Yeah. I think from day one, he literally always rocking some famous rapper or some group.
I
He always
never
rocks it.
noticed it specifically
really?
that, but I find this season I was noticing it. Like,
Yeah, I think the reason why is because it's just like a DMX or Outkast or just
right.
one name there, you know what I mean? And fun fact, I feel, because it's an Amazon show, this is just kind of Amazon talking to people like me and saying, hey, do you want a DMX shit like this? Go to Amazon.
Right. Yeah, and basically they set up a bunch of things. I forget what other side stories it have going on, but basically it's everybody making spinning moves.
All right, so there's one before I forget, there's one, although they haven't really established it properly, with Kimiko, something involving her past.
Right. Yes,
something with like she was like she was like a child soldier or something, and she
right.
runs into one of them. Yeah.
Right, yeah. She gets tied up into her own situation involving her past when she was living in Asia. Yeah, where she was basically it's like child what's called child abduction and some, we're not sure exactly what it is, but it's like some kind of underground fight club situation, but we're not sure what or why.
Yeah.
And some possibly child soldier stuff. But then she get her, because we know how she got her powers, and so on and so forth. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's the last one, right? I think that's about it. With just judging from the first 3 episodes, I noticed. Um, and yeah, so far I've been loving it. Right, I really
Mm.
enjoy these first 3 episodes. A car in good conscience. The first episode is great. That first episode, it
Right.
really sets the situation up really really well. Um, it had me hyped. It's really really smart. The other 2 episodes more lean into the humor, shock value stuff, especially involving someone named Splinter.
Oh,
That'll
oh,
get
oh, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, that'll get
Yeah.
real good, but yeah, all I will say, I think I'll spoil it right now. R.I.P. King. You died from a rookie mistake. You should have taken a page from duplicate. That's all I'll say. Uh,
Okay,
right.
yeah. I see what you did there. Mm.
Right. But yeah, yeah. So far, I really loving this. Right. The first episode is the strongest. The other two more is the more shock value, joke stuff, blood and guts kind of thing. But the first one, I think, really, really sets up the episode really well. Sets up the season. Right. They introduce Sister Sage. They introduce a new situation with Newman and how outright problematic Newman is, because not only the president, well, the guy who's going to become president, because she's the running candidate for this guy. He makes a great joke about Pete Buttigieg, which is really funny. But yeah, this dude is like, yeah, I want to get rid of my vice president. And he straight up, antagonizing to the situation to get her assassinated and have both like the CIA and the boys in it. All right, I forget to mention Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in this as another character. I forget the character's name. But he's
Yeah,
as
but he's like a CIA guy. He's like, I think
right.
he used to work with Billy, or at least he
Work
know
with Billy,
Billy.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in Billy's past. He's more scummy, somehow a more scummy version of Billy, right? Uh, and yeah, he just real like he planned just to wipe out people. And well, they did something involving Ryan with that. Yeah. As I said before, I love Sister Siege. Great character, right? She's such a menace, and she's so messy, right? And I love how she bounces off, all the other characters, especially that drama with Newman and what going on with them, because they're in the third episode involving an ice skating ring. That's all you need to know. Uh, he they basically just say the plan out. Like, we know what,
Yeah.
and we kind of knew that, but with Sister Sage, no, it's like, all right, they know exactly what steps they had to make to gather and grind to the power. Yeah, as I say, all the side stuff is good. All right, the last thing I mentioned is right, the last person who have an interesting kind of side story, and he gonna be an interesting beat because he plays a really important role later. A-Train, right? What going on with him?
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
right, that's pretty good stuff. With that and what going on with A-Train and Mother's Milk, and that whole thing building up something interesting. For me, though, the real standout is Billy and Ryan. That
Yes.
dynamic is excellent. I mean, I was kind of worried that the actor would have a growth spurt and that would throw things off. Like child actors, when they get a little too old, the song kind of off and they're not really working. Like a perfect example is that boy from Lost. Like, he just looked like a completely different person. Now, in the case of the problem is the nature of the show. So the amount of time that shit passed is a problem. But because in the show real time passes is not a big issue. That's one, from a continuity standpoint. But two, it actually feeds into his characterization quite well, right? You're really getting that gangly awkwardness from him as a teenager coming across quite well now. And I thought that was actually really, really funny, and they make it work because his scenes with both Homelander and Billy's are great, right? They're really, really, really good stuff now. And well, of course, my main man, Homelander. Oh God, he's such a fucking
Of course, everyone's favorite villain by now. Everyone's
of course,
favorite villain.
yeah. He's such a best, and I'm totally here for it. Like, he just did a best. They do something with a mirror that is great. Like
Yes, I
it's
love,
something that
love that scene. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's something that they did a little earlier. It's like, okay, some groveling shit going on, but like it getting worse now. It's
Mhm.
like, all right, and well, they mentioned something, that small thing they mentioned, and Sister Sage mentioned it. This is something about his prostate and he having, well, he getting gray hairs also.
Yeah.
They did something clever with that, where Homelander overheard the two, like, top guys. Forget the name. They're the guys who's do the only pitch meeting shit.
Yes,
And
they.
they just kind of just say, yeah, Homelander getting kind of old and so on, so on. He just like take that to heart and he come and interfere with the son. Take that, and when the son ended up killing the fella.
Yeah,
That was all.
which was hilarious, by the way.
That was brutal, Joe. That's real brutal, boy. I
Yeah.
feel real bad for Ryan. I know, I totally know that was coming. And when my boy say, you had a trouble for real this time, I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
don't say that. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I thought it's a really strong start for the season, and it looking like it's going to shape up to be even better than the last one. I did not super love the last one, and well, the main reason why is because I felt Soldier Boy, even though I think he's a great character, it didn't feel like too much of a threat. Like
Right.
I get what he represented, right? And he thematically he works as a villain, but because his power set, I felt his power set could have tweaked in such a way to make him feel more dangerous, and he never felt super dangerous. So and that, how they resolve the situation is like, well, I thought they would have resolved that in a more clever way, but like however. But as it is, I really hoping this one might be shaping up to be better. And yeah, mostly because of Sister Siege, right? She's basically like the Lex Luthor of this universe, right? She's supposed to be super smart, thinking how many 20, 30 steps ahead or whatever. And yeah, always have a character like that in these comics. So I want to see how they're going to play with her in this conceit of the narrative. But yeah, I really, really strong first 3 episodes for me. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I was like, yeah, it actually had to really held my attention as usual because this franchise has always kept itself in good concert. And yeah, I think it's excellent news here and that it's going to end in 5 seasons. Perfect. That's perfect. Like this, to me, most if not all stories should not go beyond 7. 7 is the max, and I stretching it. To me, the rule of thumb is 4 to 6. You don't try to go beyond that, right? Because once you go beyond that, you're running into trouble. But yeah, here it ending on on the 5th season is excellent news. That means it could shape itself up and build up towards that with proper timing and things. So hopefully nothing unfortunate happened or anything like that to mess that up like what went on with Gen V. But yeah, I really excited for this. Really, really good. Well, the last thing is with Newman and her daughter, but that's just a nice little beat on its own. But yeah, go ahead. Tyson.
Yeah, well, speaking of Gen V, there's a blink and you miss it reference to Gen
Yeah,
V, or at least
yeah,
the main conceit of that
right.
first
Yeah,
season,
it
which
feeds
I
into this.
really dug. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
So I'm
feeds
really
into this.
curious to see how
Yeah,
they do it, right?
right.
Yeah, this is all. I agree with you. Yes, this is off to a strong note. What I really really love though is how they just able to balance all these different elements, all these different plot points, all these kind of things, and still keep you engaged. So even though these episodes clock at about an hour, none of them felt dull or boring or contrived or anything like that. I was
Right.
engaged, even, in the moments of dialogue and, character setup and story build up and all these kind of things, right? But yes, ever so often, they'll punctuate these things with like, gross out moments or graphic
Right.
violence or, graphic language, right? But yeah, this is a show where literally every minute somebody says fuck, right? That's how it
Right.
is, right? But it works, man. Homelander, yes, I is everybody's favorite villain right now. I just love the position where he's in right now. As like, I could literally go to Starlight and kill her. I could go to Huey right now and kill him. I could go and kill all these people. But I can't because on trial. And basically, I just love the fact that he is just this political puppet. He
Right.
knows it, but like it's not really put to the highest level as yet. Like, like he's gearing up to be part of this whole power struggle, or what I mean, at least this whole presidential rally. And I'm just really excited to see where that goes, right? So he kind of knows that his time as a superhero is about to come to an end. It's because it's like, it's the oh gosh, it's the I'm forgetting Invincible's dad all of a sudden.
Yeah, Omni-Man.
Yeah, it's the Omni-Man problem, right?
Yeah.
You want to be a hero for so long, but it's like these insects, man. These stupid humans, man. Like I could just waste them away and I could just be powerful, but okay, I have to play this role. Right? I love that. He has to deal with this conflict at the same time. He has to raise his son, right? And there's a couple of great moments where yes, he has to kind of school his kid and tell him this is how it is and all that kind of stuff, right? That moment that you mentioned before with him having to throw somebody, I thought was hilarious. But in a dark way, right? But
Yeah.
I saw it coming. I was like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
gonna play out like that. So I laugh at that,
Yeah,
right? I like what they're doing here with Butcher now. With him taking that
Temp V,
the Temp V, for example, and now apparently he has 6 months to live. So yeah, now he wants to patch things up with his son, if you will, right? Ryan, right? And you see how that plays out. I didn't expect the situation with Hugh's dad though. I just hope for the actor's sake that Simon Pegg isn't just going to be on this bed for the entirety of the season. I really hope not.
Right.
But I like how Huey's mother comes in and that kind of sets something up as well, right? And yeah, despite all
the that's not real like unfortunate too. Like that's how
yeah.
straight here.
Exactly. I did not expect the subplot with Frenchie, right?
Right.
With him getting pretty much hooking up with a guy who
Right.
is part of some past that he just didn't he just wanted to kind of move past from there, but that kind of coming back. Well, eventually that'll come and bite him, right? So I didn't see that one coming. I wish that we got a little bit more fleshing out of the subplot involving Kimiko. Cause like she
Right.
just there, doing she thing, kicking ass,
Right.
getting shot at and whatnot and picking herself back up as she does. But I just wish that they had kind of fleshed things out just a little bit more, right? But the chemistry that she has with Frenchie is always on point, right? As far as the seven goes, right? Yes. Sister Sage is a standout character. I got the actress's name, Susan Hayward. Do I just like that? Just how it's not so much that she's snarky with it, right? It's just that she knows everything and she just kind of just watch everybody like you're all y'all on shit. So I just kind of hear this it's clear that she has her own agenda, right? But it's like, all right, I am just with you, Homelander. You hired me because I'm smart. You know what I mean? Blah 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 and all that kind of stuff, right?
She's so messy because she know who to tell the right things to.
Yes.
Put them in a space there, right? Because she do like
exactly
with I forget the woman
with
name.
the
Ashley.
deep. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, with the deep and Ashley. Yeah, Ashley.
Yeah. I love right with Ashley. Yes.
Like little small things like that. She just talking inside the yeah. She know the right thing to say is like God, but she don't know tip. Already know. It's like the Joker in the Dark Knight. All what is madness. It just needs a little bit of push. It's like gravity.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like gravity. All this needs a little push. Right.
Right.
So something like that.
Yeah, it's like that. She just know how to make that move. And I get the feeling they're gonna I really want to see what they're gonna go into.
Yeah. Didn't expect the character of Firecracker. And I like how they tie it to Starlight's past. I thought that was really interesting as well. At first, like I just watched it, she is like, is she just some kind of like it's just meant to be just to satirize conspiracy theory, right?
At first I thought she was gonna be like another Stormfront, right?
Yes.
Like, it's Stormfront light, but no, she's more like a dark mirror of Starlight. And then because of her past with Starlight and what Starlight did to her, it's like, okay, I now see, how she could be a problem for Starlight, because it's not the external fight, it's the internal fight with Starlight. And Starlight herself, how she gets the power, her privilege, her blah 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 blah. And they set up nice.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, points for the blink and you miss it reference that that Sister Sage does with Stormfront now, because she calls her Nazi Bay. It's like, okay, all right. I see what you did, little character development. I like that, yeah. Speaking of which, though, I know people kind of going nuts over it, but this is just basically because of the voice actress they get to play her. Yeah, they set up something here with the Deep and a lover of his. But yeah, when I saw who the name was, I was like, oh wow, okay.
I didn't check. Who's the voice actress?
Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
I was like, okay, yeah. But it's funny and it's fucked up, but it's deep, right? And we, it's what we come to know from him by now. So it's like that.
The Deep is just trash. He's just trash.
He is such trash, boy. I love how
the scene with Homelander and him at the A-Train in the beginning is like, God, but you see how sad fucking Deep is.
Boy. I love how Sister Sage kind of playing him. You know what I mean? Like playing the Deep like a fiddle too. Also, speaking of guest appearances, boy, I did not expect in a million years to see Will Ferrell. I'm not gonna say who he plays, but shows up.
That reference was funny, I thought.
That reference was funny.
Yeah, I know that reference was funny.
And I appreciate that they call out the show that they're making fun of. Because I know some people, they'll be like, I don't understand what's going on. Like what is going on? But because they call the name out, because once I saw it and I saw what was going on, I was like, yeah, they're making fun of this movie, right? But I like that they kind of call it out, like, all right, cool, yeah, right? As far as the political stuff goes, I have no problem with it though. But I guess for people who just, it's not so much being triggered by it, but it's just like, they just don't want to think about it too much. But I'm sorry, like again, this is what this season is going to be about. I'm not
Right.
sure where it's going to go, but I don't think there's going to be any serious allusions to what may happen or what has happened before as far as American politics go. Like, yes, it's satirizing it, but I don't think we're going to come out of it and be like all scared about what's going to happen come November 5th, right? Like,
Exactly.
it's not like Civil War, for example, where it's like, oh, well, you see,
It's not. It's not. It's not trying
like
to
it's
be
not Civil War. Like, no,
exactly.
no.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the way how they do it, they set it that up, but they're not trying to make it as blatantly like realistic and projectionist as Civil War is. In that sense. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It and I mean, like, yeah, like at the end of the day, it's satire, right? Like look right down in a particular episode, involving like I say, ice skating, right? Yeah, there's a song involved, and I understand where they're coming from with it, right? I get what they're poking fun of, though. And it like at first I was like, okay, like why we doing this though? Like it's in it, in the middle of the year. That's all I'll say without spoiling anything. But just what the song is about, though, is so witty and clever, and it just says so much about what this show is about and what it's addressing, right?
Yeah.
And that's just one last point I just want to make before we move on, right? Yes, I know it's the boys, and we always have to have some kind of over the top kind of like set piece, right? Like let me just say, like I think last time there was like this carnival or like some fun land or whatever it is involving like old school soups. Now I remember being that happening in the last season. This one here have, or at least in with these first 3 episodes we get here so far, we have like a conspiracy theory con.
Right.
I just watch it like us like that isn't possible. That is so impossible. But the stuff that they was talking about.
It look real because that's exactly how a lot of conspiracy theories is actually.
That's the thing. Like the shit they was talking about. Like, yep, that's it. That's the kind of shit people is beyond.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just the idea that there's a whole bunch of people in a corner, and I'm assuming that not everybody sees eye to eye. But but I guess I'm just overreading it, right? But it's still the concept of a conspiracy theory con is absurd to me, right? But that's the joy of this show, right? That they could do absurd shit, but it kind of relates a lot to real life, right? Oh, and I just mentioned one last thing. Neo Noir, or I'll call him Neo Black Noir, is hilarious.
Right.
Like I like what they're doing here with him. I'm just curious to see where his character goes from there, man.
Yeah, what they're doing
same
with
thing
that,
goes, yeah. And same thing goes with everybody, right? So so long story short, there's like I am really enjoying what they're doing here so far. But I already know that this season is going to be very dark. It's going to be very grim. Like from what I've been hearing, yeah, this season might be not so much bleak, but just dark though. Like compared to what we saw before, it's just how dark it's going to be, and I feel like it has to do with the political angle that they go in with, right? So, will people be annoyed, be like disturbed or distressed by this when it ends? I don't really know, but I guess it all depends on how things play out. But I really have a strong feeling that yes, our Homelander is going to be at the center of it all, and something big and bad is going to happen. It's just a matter of what it's going to be. But I guess we will see come episode 8 when that airs, right? But yeah, other than that, season 4 is off to a fantastic start, man. I can't be mad at this.
Yeah, well, we have some good TV right now because I told myself I'll skip 2 episodes and then watch any show right now. So for me, it's skipping 2 episodes. I'll watch The Boys. Skip 2 episodes, watch The Acolyte, skip 2 episodes, and something else starting soon. Or the new Game of Thrones starting tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yeah. But here's the thing, just to move forward. As far as Acolyte goes, I could do like you and just skip a couple episodes, right?
Right.
Yes, there will be the naysayers who come and say, oh, you see, like especially the episode 3, or you see that episode 3, you see that, see that. That's the end of Star Wars right there, Like I've seen a couple people saying that, like
already, you get double
right? This all y'all make, this is all they get all the content to be monetized, right?
Right.
So forgive me if I don't want to be a part of that shit. I'm sorry.
Right. No. Yeah. I didn't see episode 3. I think, but I think I know what you're talking about. I didn't watch it yet. I gotta stay away from it. I had some work and real life things to deal with. But yeah. I tell myself 2 episodes. Like that's a good balance. 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Skip an episode. Skip 2. Watch 1. Meaning I'll binge 2 every 2 weeks. I watch both now instead of watching one every week. That kind of stuff. It's balanced in terms of story flowing better for me in terms of how to remember this stuff. I realize.
Yeah, I will do that for the Acolyte. But as
Right.
far as the boys with its
Nah, the
political angle
boys might keep there, to
and
be fair.
yeah, and House of Dragon, that is going to
Right.
be very, very difficult for me
Right.
because I know that people are going to be, especially like shit like IndieWire and them, going to be talking about, oh, you know,
That's the problem. It's
that
spoilers,
scene. You see that
yeah.
scene? Yeah,
Some spoilers.
this is what this is why that scene came to be, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'll be like, ah, shit. So now I know, right?
Right.
So case in point, I knew about I knew about the octopus thing because of IndieWire.
Right.
I heard about it. I just didn't know who the actress was, the voice actress was, and then when I when I heard, it's like, oh, okay, that's why. But yeah, I already know that social media gonna spoil each and every episode that drops from this point on for the boys and House of Dragon boys. So I might as well just watch these things on a weekly basis, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 4 of the boys, man. Yeah, off to a solid start, man.
Very strong start.
Yes, strong start. Yes.
Yeah.